Cheers! Welcome to Movie Bitches!
Episode 274. Tonight we're reviewing Bros. What was this?
Like, bros.
Oh, Bros. Oh, yeah. But I threw you off.
No,
Bros.
you're bros.
Hey, what's up, bro? Controversial movie. Not really, but a little. We'll get into it. But first things first, shout out to our Patreon supporters. $5 a month gets you ad-free early access. $10 gets you access to our viewing parties. Second, shout out to our wine sponsor, Wink. Go to trywink.com/moviebitches. You get $22 off your first month of wine. Third things third, make sure to subscribe, share, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, all of those good things. Click the little thumbs up button. Comment, did you watch Bros?
So, Bros, the much anticipated, I would say.
Well, much ballyhooed. I don't know if I would say anticipated.
What exactly does that mean? I mean, I know, but what exactly does that mean?
Ballyhooed?
Yeah.
I guess my understanding of it would be that it's like hoopla. You know, lots of like, I guess anticipation or
Well, I guess
chatter.
I was more so like for me personally or us. I was much anticipating.
Oh, okay, great.
A Billy Eichner written rom-com project.
Yep.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not the right person to write a rom-com anyway.
Starring the, now I'm going to have to say it, overplayed Luke Macfarlane.
Overplayed?
I just feel like he's been in too many.
I will say, I think perhaps his acting
was not up to the caliber of film that he was in.
Beyond, maybe Hallmark is his perfect resting place.
I think so.
Not in a dead way. Just in a like holding pattern. I don't know.
Yeah. It's his lane. It's a good lane for him.
It was a little above his pay grade. Bros.
Yes.
I would say, gosh, did I like a lot of it?
Yep.
Gosh, was a lot of it not working.
Yeah.
I've never felt such whiplash in a movie.
Yes.
Before.
Yes.
So take that where you will, watch or not. There were really funny parts.
There were really funny, like I was really laughing, and I feel like it's one that I feel like actually I would like to rewatch.
Well, so much was the dialogue so fast. The jokes are triple layered. You know, there's a lot going on. So you could certainly same thing with Difficult People.
Yep.
The jokes are still funny second, third time around.
Absolutely.
Some of them.
Yes, some of them. And I think similar to Fire Island, I think I might actually think that Fire Island was a better movie. No, I don't think so.
I did not care for that movie.
I liked so much about that movie. I really did.
Sure.
But I also feel like it was a failure overall of the brief.
It had less of a voice, I would say.
A little bit.
Rose was more personal.
Much more.
And I connected with that.
There was a stronger point of view.
Yeah.
I think the biggest flaw for me of Bros was that Judd Apatow, you could see his hands and fingers in it. It felt like there were two movies, the movie that Billy Eichner wanted to make, and the movie that Judd Apatow in the studio allowed him to complete.
My goodness, is that the case?
Something a straight guy might like? Am I gonna get butt-fucked by Jason Momoa while we're both worrying about a volcano?
Insane.
Hence the whiplash. It was just like, oh, we're in this movie now.
Literally,
oh, we're in this
in
movie
the same scene, I would be like, I have never laughed so hard. I am obsessed with this joke. That's terrible. What happened? Oh, I hate this. No. It was milliseconds.
Yes.
It was very strange viewing experience.
Yes. And I felt like it never fully went off the rails for me.
No.
It teetered and tottered, and I thought we were real close to a train wreck.
When Deborah Messing showed up.
Oh, but there was kind of something great about that.
In theory, I'm laughing. In practicality and execution, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I am not Grace. I won an Emmy for it. I even beat Sarah Jessica Parker. People forget. I'm shaving my head. What the fuck is this doing here?
What?
That's a fair point. In theory, I'm laughing. In execution...
Now, if Deborah Messing had shown up and said, what, to look me over like a red heifer?
Oh, but you bring him here to look me over like I was a red heifer?
Now, if she had made fun of herself in that way,
sure.
That's so specific.
Yes, of course.
I love it.
Yeah.
Of course.
But yeah, so I think, like, going back to the conversation about Luke Macfarlane, for me, he works best in the Judd Apatow version of this movie, which was the cheesy, kind of I don't want to say vapid or basic, but it was that kind of stereotypical rom-com, right? Where it's just like, this is a nice, cute, we've seen this movie a million times before. There's not really much
He was
deeper.
in the one-dimensional characters rom-com, and Billy Eichner was in the three-dimensional characters rom-com.
Correct. And it was clear that he had written his part from emotional and deep trauma. And
not only trauma,
but there was a lot of trauma that he was airing.
The movie is about trauma.
He had a few. There was some. The tones would shift. Remember when they're on a date early in the movie, and he's like, yeah, you know, my dad died 10 years ago, and a bee! Oh my God, a bee! Ah, ah! And I was just like, what's this movie?
My mom died when I was in college, and my dad died like 10 years ago.
Like, what's going on? Like, that was funny.
It was funny.
But
and true. I feel like that's also just like...
It was just so wild.
That's a gay date.
That you get attacked by a bee in the middle of
that you
sharing
would see that you're talking and walking down the street and there's a bee and you freak out. I felt like that was real.
I didn't feel it was untrue. It just felt like I don't know. Like I was like, oh, and we're sharing our, and I don't know if it was that the joke? I don't know.
I don't know if it was super successful.
It came out of nowhere.
Well, that's the point. The bee came out of nowhere.
To the degree of, I don't know. I get it. I don't know. It was strange.
Okay. That was not one of my issues with this movie.
No. That was just like an example of like, we're here, and then we're here. And we're here, and then we're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it starts. What's Billy Eichner's job?
Podcaster. They give us a
then
lengthy.
What's all the scenes in the museum? Is that a volunteer work?
It seems like he's a podcaster who is now also
on the board.
He's the head of this Billy Eichner Museum for Gay Things.
No one has acknowledged it.
I acknowledge.
That is true, my bad.
Lesbian History Month was in March. Nobody said a goddamn thing. It's June.
I hated every scene with that board.
Every scene with the museum, cut it.
Cut it.
Cut it
Cut
out.
the museum. So much shouting.
There was so much shouting. I know I was just shouting a lot. I apologize.
You know, and it's fun when Billy's on the street and he's shouting.
For 4 minutes?
Yeah. But
this movie was too long.
This movie was that was the problem as well. This movie was 15 minutes
I feel
easily
like that
too
is
long.
going to be on my gravestone.
Yes, this movie was too long. Oh no, I hope not.
No, of course not.
Or maybe yes. Does that mean you lived like a long, fulfilling life if this movie was too long? She died at 132, and this
movie was too long. I just reread my notes.
Okay, great.
And I realized why I wrote down that bee scene.
Okay, tell me.
Because I was watching it, and the bee shows up.
My mom died when I was in college, and my dad died like 10 years ago.
A bee.
And I was like, oh no, did Jamie Dornan show up to ruin their day?
I don't know. I think that I'm a honeybee. I always have.
He's a honeybee.
He's a honeybee.
You're a flower.
Emily Blunt was a flower.
She was a flower.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm a bee?
No,
May I know what I am?
you're a flower.
No, she's a swan.
Because I know I'm a swan.
There really were lots of funny jokes. Cut all of the museum shit. I agree. It was too much shouting.
It starts.
Yeah.
He's a podcaster.
Right.
He's got opinions. I'm
Yep.
into it.
Yep.
He seems to be very famous for podcasting. All
Sure.
of his friends, oh my God, people are coming up to him. So I'm like, okay, this is a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then when all the museum stuff showed up, I was like, so now, I mean, sure, multifaceted, people have multiple jobs, but it just seemed so disparate. It seemed like such a different movie.
I guess a little. To me, it just seemed like he was riding his career as a podcaster into trying to create this museum for the queers.
Was he heading the whole thing up?
I believe so. Hence why it was his responsibility to find the funding and to...
I guess.
It
felt like get rid of it. It felt like I don't need this.
I don't
So
need
maybe
it.
That's why
it was
I was like,
poorly written. It was overly complicated. None of it made any sense. That's not how things work. You don't just like have a weird board of dysfunctioning queers that then are just like, oh, and here's the museum. It's up to you, Billy Eichner, to get us $3 million or the whole thing is kaput.
Like, who's paying rent on this big
on this
boardroom?
building?
Like, I just didn't know what was happening.
On the whole giant building. It was like the fucking
of
New York
course.
Library.
They had so many scenes in this big conference room. Who's paying their salaries? How did he start this?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah, right. why didn't you get David Geffen to fund it all? And like, you know, it's like the David Geffen wing of, sure, that would make more sense.
And that's a funny joke.
You know, maybe you have the David Geffen dungeon in the bottom. That's a joke that Billy Eichner would make.
I thought, you know.
And I will say, okay, faves about this movie, it didn't pull punches.
It did not pull punches.
It went there. The grinder scenes, all of that like descriptions of like gay culture and dating and
about there was a whole rimming scene that they cut, right? That was the big joke.
Oh, was it?
Or not joke, but like it was like a thing, like, oh, they made us cut it, and it was funny because they had to have like I forget who was rimming who, but whoever was the other person, they had made like a fake ass, and it was like animatronic or something. It was big because they wanted to do a big like shot with the perspective,
they're coming
so
up from behind the
really
butt
big
and the cheeks.
and there was like a whole thing, and they cut it.
Oh my god.
I was like, no.
Meanwhile, HBO's just doing it.
White Lotus?
Yes.
Okay.
The first season has a infamous rimming scene.
Theo James, not in season 1.
one.
Okay. Homosexual in season 2?
No.
Okay. Also, sidebar.
Yeah.
On Theo James.
Yeah.
Watch Mr. Malcolm's List.
Okay.
He's in it. Has a mustache. It's kind of working.
Oh.
I was like,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty into Theo James.
Why? Something about this clean-shaven I'm a baby face is just like was a little less attractive to me. Something about the floopsy-flopsy Regency hair with the mustache. And the like, he's got like an army outfit on, and I was like, you know, yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't a no before, but it was just more of a yes.
Interesting. I will say his character is pretty off-putting in season 2 of White Lotus.
Okay.
So it's less of a yes, although it's still one of those begrudging yeses where you're like, I really don't want to, but I kind of have to. Yeah. It's like, yes, but we won't tell anyone.
It's James Spader.
Well, no, it's different.
Okay.
Because he's really a schmuck. Like, you're just like, no, I don't like you, but I guess I would fuck you, yeah.
It doesn't have to be serious.
No. It'd be a hate fuck. Anyway. For
some reason, I thought you were going to say hate crime. I don't know why. Anyway, so yes, it was explicit. I think it could have been, it was half in, half out.
Yes.
If it had gone full Billy Eichner and been hard R, I think it would have been a much more successful
and an
film.
HBO Max original film. It did not have to have a theatrical release.
And trim that down.
Yeah.
Wasn't it weird? It turned out later, I guess, it was resolved. We first meet Luke Macfarlane at a club.
Yeah.
And every time he's at the club, or in the first half of the movie, he's sort of putting on this voice.
I listened to your podcast.
Did you notice it? It was
like, hey, brah.
Yeah, it was like this deep, affected
Well,
thing,
that was kind of part of the conversation.
But it went on for so long. And there wasn't any scenes where we see him alone not doing it.
Oh.
So I was going, is this an acting choice and it's not working? Or is this a character choice and it is working? Turns out it was a character choice. I got there in the end.
Sure.
But it took so long for the reveal that I was just like...
I do probate law. I'm an estate planner. Basically, I write people's wills.
What's this?
Yeah. I mean, I really do unfortunately think that this was a little outside of his range. He was so melodramatic at times.
Well, he couldn't...
When it really wasn't warranted.
Well, and it was it doesn't have the range.
He doesn't have the range.
Shirley Bassey.
She doesn't have the range. I'm sorry, Shirley. I love her to bits, but she doesn't have the range.
But that's you.
I don't care. I don't have the range.
Unfortunately, I do really like him. He seems like a very sweet person.
Very likable and nice.
Yeah. The museum of it all that like really bothered me was just...
Well, all of the yelling. I was like, Billy Eichner's enough. Just have him yell.
Yeah, we don't need everyone yelling across the table.
Someone else can calmly speak.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was just taking on so much, whereas like maybe it should have been a play that he was putting on as like a passion project or...
Cats?
Or... Oh my God. Or maybe he was tasked with building an exhibit for this show and he has to try and market it.
Just do your diorama.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Not only was he taking on all of the umbrella, the queer umbrella, into the one museum.
I mean, she's got all the curtains from Tara ripped off the wall and put into the one dress.
It was too many things.
Too many.
He was tasked with, it's like when, there's the first female does this and she's tasked with taking on all of that baggage at once. It was like the first leading gay actor in a gay rom-com of this budget with the and you have to tackle all of the subjects. And it was like, well,
We're letting the heterosexual terrorists win.
There are also gay terrorists.
And there are bi terrorists, okay? There are many bisexual terrorists.
Okay, there are trans terrorists too. Caitlyn Jenner.
Maybe you don't.
Scale it back.
Yeah. I mean, now that you bring it up, should we talk about the controversy of it all?
What's the controversy of it all?
Well, he kind of really shot himself and the movie in its own foot.
Oh, I kind of know, but I don't quite.
So basically, the movie debuted.
I mean, I know it did
tanked.
terribly.
Yeah.
Financially.
Yes.
I didn't realize it was Billy Eichner's fault.
Well, he didn't help any.
Okay.
Right? Saturday, it was like abysmal numbers. Like really like some of the lowest averages of a box office numbers. Not entirely sure why, although I think a lot of the marketing was very specific to gays, and I think a lot of the gays weren't bought in.
Right.
And it was like, well, is this a movie for gays and we should go see it, or is this a movie about the gays and you're trying to get all of the straights? It was confused
The Judd
in the marketing.
Apatow half of the movie felt like it was about the gays.
Yep.
The gays, not the gays.
And it was like, no, straights, come watch it. We don't
Yeah.
hate you.
It was
And then
funny.
Billy Eichner's like, we fucking hate the straights.
Every time the movie turned into, come on, straights, it's okay, I was like, I don't like this movie.
It's true.
I saw I was like, oh, and it turned. I don't
Yep,
like this.
I don't like that one.
I already know about this.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I don't want it. When that, like, it was so weird to me. Where in this movie,
Yeah.
he has this whole great speech. I thought about like
had multiples, and there could have been maybe one
trims.
or two less. I'm
They-
just saying.
and they could have been shorter.
Yeah.
I get it.
One is more impactful than
yes,
two.
yes.
And three or four.
But there was like a great speech about love is all the same or whatever, and he's like, no, that's bullshit. And I was
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know what? I kind of, in some ways, agree that it's like it's not a universal experience, and it is different, and there's different ways of talking about it that should be told by voices. I think in many ways like his, and yet it got diluted by the multiple storylines of it all and the Judd Apatow of it all, that it became kind of a mess, kind of like the marketing.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yes.
so then when it was tanking, he was like, no, everyone go see it, like, whatever. And then he was, well, it's the fucking
You're homophobic.
straights,
if
you're
you don't
homophobic
wanna
if you
see
don't watch it, and
Yeah.
you're homophobic if you did watch it, and you're self-loathing homophobe if you didn't watch it, and anyway.
Having seen Bros,
Yeah.
a very personal, perhaps biographic film, that totally tracks for Billy Eichner's personality.
Yes, it does.
I'm not surprised in the least.
In the least. I mean, he didn't have the ability to read the room, and unfortunately, it was to the detriment of his film. I think it also was a mistake that it was theatrical. I think if it was just like a big HBO Max streaming event,
For sure.
people would have talked about it a lot more and watched it a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
And why did we expect this film to gross $50 million at the box office? There's not really much precedent for that.
For a comedy.
For a raunchy comedy
Yeah.
about crass, sassy gay man.
Yeah. There was a few fun like rom-com digs. Like there was like points when they had obvious rights-free rom-com music during their dates or something.
Sure.
There was a few things where it was like, we're making fun of this, but not enough for that to be the thing.
I kissed you. Are we kissing each other now? I don't know. Bye.
I guess I'm also just remembering too, like the whole thing with his mom and family, and like Luke is out, but he's like not really. He's kind of
He's
hiding himself from his family.
he's out, but doesn't want to be flamboyant, I guess.
Right.
Ish.
Right. And he doesn't want Billy to be his
I mean, the
himself.
second, I was so confused. They're in love, they're together, and when he was like, "Just be less you," I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe you could just be like a little less yourself for like 3 hours. I want them to like you.
"That is unforgivable."
Right.
I am so upset. Like,
I mean, that was what broke them up in the movie. So like,
oh, completely. But I was like, I don't know if we're coming back from this, guys.
Yeah.
Like it was so, and that had been such a thing that was overarching of people have told me my whole life.
Right.
Be less you, be less loud, be
Yeah.
less this, da da da. And so when he said that, I was so crushed. Oh my God.
yeah.
I was so upset.
But I think that's really good.
I'm not complaining.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, I was like, oh my God. And then I started to get to the point where I was like, maybe they aren't together at the end. I
could have had a little
had
bit,
a prime.
or I was going to
that
say
movie was called?
Annie Hall.
Annie Hall, yes, of course. What was that? Uma Thurman?
Prime with Uma Thurman, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, we grew, we both evolved together, we had an important relationship together, but we weren't the loves of each other's lives.
Yes. Well, and I think honestly, a la Prime, I think Luke Macfarlane was too old for this behavior. I'm just saying it. He is a 40-year-old man. Why is he acting like this still? I mean, although they do exist, I'm not, so maybe that's fine.
But that's why I was like, oh, we've experienced something profound together.
Right.
But we don't need to spend the rest of our lives together.
Sure. I just didn't quite see Luke Macfarlane's character being nearly as real as Billy Eichner's clearly was so personally written.
Yes. I mean, he was playing himself.
So that was just hard for me to kind of, it didn't gel.
Well, because then with the voice that he was doing, that he was putting on,
Yeah.
I thought, oh, is that because of the testosterone he's taking?
Oh, funny.
And that was a really real scene.
The steroids conversation?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought, I was like the movie really took on too much.
Yes.
But some of the stuff really hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, whoa. That was clearly based on a real life event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you go, oh, we're back at the museum and they're yelling.
Well, right. Exactly.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, there's definitely an edit of this movie that would be much more successful. And then the fucking museum opening and them singing and all of that. Hey guys, remember that dance I taught you?
Hated all of it. I just remembered something. There was too many people in the cast.
Yeah.
So we've got the whole museum board.
Right.
Right? And then there's all these scattered friends.
Right.
Who at the end, they showed up and I went, who's that?
Can I tell you something extremely embarrassing that I would only tell you?
Yes.
I wrote a song about him. I know.
Who is that?
Right.
Oh, right. That was his friend from one scene.
There was the friend with the kid.
Yes.
Then there was the group of friends that had dinner together.
Yes.
That we never see basically again.
Right.
And it's like we needed more of them, less of the museum.
So much. Absolutely.
Especially because the whole thing, he came and he helped me sell the rich dude. Oh my God, Bowen Yang.
We find ourselves in an intimate little bar with some young, hot animatronic men. The man turned to dance with each other when suddenly, boom!
Also, that entire scene with Bowen Yang and his whatever he was describing.
I don't know.
But I'm into. I was here for it. But also that was so stupid and I didn't need any of it.
It was very dumb and I didn't like it.
I respect you now because you helped me with my job. Like, fuck off. This is stupid. I didn't...
Some of and that's real too. Immature things happen or you appreciate the wrong things about something.
Yes, but there's a better way to tell that
exactly.
without having to have this entire museum. Like, we could have cut all of it and just had it be much simpler and more about the friends and their relationship.
Then I kept confusing Luke Macfarlane's brother with the hockey friend.
Yep.
They were interchangeable to me, and just because I didn't spend enough time with them, and I was like, wait, is that
lover.
the brother or is that the hockey lover?
It was a large cast of people that didn't have to be in it.
Yeah, that's when the movie slowed down and he sang that whole song.
The whole song. And I should be like,
come
oh,
on,
that's
guys.
so sweet.
That just really, I
remember that dance I taught you?
It was so, but that wasn't the joke.
No.
Just one more thing. Sorry, hold on. I'm gonna do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
It's finding your first love as a 40-year-old man.
Like if Usher had been like, come on, y'all, then I would have been like, I'm obsessed with this fucking movie. But it was just like, I know I will sing this whole ballad. And I was like, what is this now?
Right. And he practiced it not even knowing. He made all of them supposedly rehearse with him.
No, they didn't.
They didn't at all?
No, he was like, it was completely on the fly. He had written in his head. He hadn't even written it down.
I thought he had.
I don't think so, because it was out of nowhere.
But then how did they all know what to play?
It didn't make any sense.
I thought he had made them rehearse it, but that's even more rude if you don't even know if he's going to show up. Just in a contingency.
No,
Anyway.
Usher needed to show up and have a tiny fedora and say, hey, y'all, remember that dance I taught you?
Every day, the
funk
soul brother, check it out now.
I did think it was super annoying that at the end, the museum opened. Everyone's a hologram. I didn't like the holograms, first of all. But and then the not the whole movie, but they had this whole speech about casting straight actors as gay people, blah 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 blah. We hate it. Da, 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 da. Then almost all of the people playing the gay holograms in the museum were straight. I was like, what are we doing?
I'm lesbian First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt.
Hi, I'm Seth Meyers as Harvey Milk.
Hello, I'm Kenan Thompson as James Baldwin.
It was like, and here's, gay icon so-and-so played by a straight person. And I was just like, it just seems so weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, So, gosh, this was hot and cold.
Hot and cold. Lots of funny jokes. Again, I mean, if the price of admission is free, watch it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
My mom died when I was in college, and my dad died like 10 years ago.
A bee, a bee, a bee, a bee, a bee, a bee.